Sure.
Sweet.
Well, it wasn't. There was nothing new about Los Angeles wanting to establish themselves as a major league city, and in many ways they were. Obviously, the Hollywood movie industry was huge. They had a thriving Pacific Rim industry. But really, the big city on the West Coast was San Francisco, and Los Angeles wanted to catch up with San Francisco. But they had proven themselves as a sports town. USC and UCLA drew huge crowds. The Olympics were an enormous success, a tremendous success in 1932. And increasingly, by the 1950s, rosters of baseball teams and sports teams throughout America had participants from Southern California. There were lots of people from the Southland playing. They had a big fan base. And the crowds, as I say, at the Coliseum were so large and enthusiastic that it was obvious that it was a sports crazy place. The weather was great, and once the Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier in 1947 and jet aircraft became commonplace and became easier to crisscross the country, then it became just a matter of time before a baseball team would come to Los Angeles. The question was, who would that team be? Would they be an expansion team, or would they be an established major league team? Well, I think the story of the Los Angeles Dodgers starts on December 7th, 1941. On that date, the owners of Major League Baseball met during the winter meetings, and it was decided that the St. Louis Browns would move to Los Angeles and become the first big league baseball team on the West Coast. And on that day, or later that day, as everyone knows, the Japanese bombed the island of Hawaii, and that was the end of the St. Louis Browns becoming the Los Angeles Browns, or whatever they would have become. They eventually became the Baltimore Orioles. But baseball did move out west when the Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee. The Philadelphia A's moved to Kansas City. And in the 1950s, Dwight Eisenhower signed the Federal Highway Act, and the car was now king. And what owners of major league teams wanted were stadiums with lots of parking, and that's what they had at Milwaukee County Stadium. And when you were looking to build a new stadium, you were looking for freeway access and lots of parking, and this was one of the things that drove the building of Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
Right. Well, as I'd said, when Dwight Eisenhower signed the Federal Highway Act, Los Angeles was the main beneficiary. So you now had highways crisscrossing downtown Los Angeles. No longer was Santa Monica and the West Side a place where people went to vacation in the summers. You can now live there and work in downtown Los Angeles. So you have this location located on a plateau overlooking downtown Los Angeles, crisscrossed by freeways or by planned freeways, in a perfect location, seemingly made from heaven, a perfect place for the Dodgers to play, where it would be easy access from the San Fernando Valley, from the San Gabriel Valley, from all of Los Angeles, from downtown obviously, not that far from Orange County, and just a perfect location. I'm sure that as soon as O'Malley saw it, there was no question in his mind that this was the place that he wanted to build a stadium. Well, the Dodgers are part of the family in Los Angeles. So what you're seeing now is a family dispute that involves the entire city, and the city is invested in the team. So many people have gone to games. I mean, I can remember one of the first games I ever brought my daughter to. She was 5 years old. We sat in the pavilion, and Eddie Murray hit a home run that took one perfect bounce right into my hands, and I handed it to my daughter. And so the team is like part of my family, this great event. And this has been reproduced a million times, a zillion times, with a zillion Los Angelinos and Southern Californians who've come thronging to this stadium. And You know, people talk about the Dodger fans leaving early, but they are great fans. And there are very few teams that have consistently maintained attendance like this team. They sell that stadium out year after year after year. They're not always champions. In fact, they haven't been lately. They still average 40, 44, 46,000 fans a game. They are as rock solid a franchise and as integral to a city and a region as any team in sports, and they have defined the life in Southern California. Everything revolves around them. They're a picture of greatness and a picture of perseverance, and so therefore the Dodgers are going through some tough times now. The Giants, they think that history is on their side, but the Los Angeles Dodgers will rise again. Their stadium is a beautiful stadium, and the franchise will see glory days, and that's a guarantee. Well, my impression of Dodger Stadium is almost that like it's a movie set, almost like it's a Cecil B. DeMille panorama. You have these beautiful flowery trees that look like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, a sense of that it was the promised land. And people were drawn to it. If you build it, they will come. And so it really looked like a Hollywood set, built in Hollywood in the shadow of the movie industry. And yes, everything about the stadium was designed with architecture in mind, with the idea of the stadium being perfectly contoured into the hillside with the hills in the background, the palm trees. And no stadium had ever really looked like this before. All the seats are on home plate. There are no unobstructed views. Yankee Stadium, for instance, has many seats that are absolutely terrible with giant pillars blocking the view, and yet they still tried to sell them for years for high prices, and O'Malley had certainly learned from that. O'Malley and the builders of Dodger Stadium somehow managed to combine the unique quaintness of Ebbets Field, where all the fans were literally on the players, on top of the game, with the spaciousness of Dodger Stadium, because there are even the second tier and third tier levels at Dodger Stadium seem to be close to the field. They're angled in such a way and are close enough. It's not like the Los Angeles Coliseum, where if you're sitting way in the 90th row, you're a long ways away from the action. You seem to be able to see everything at Dodger Stadium. And the pavilions, people have always thought of the pavilions as bleachers, places where people sit who can't afford good seats, and yet they're great seats. It turned it into an entirely new experience. To go to this gleaming new ballpark that was so clean, and previous stadiums were downtown areas that kind of smelled a little bit and were archaic before their time, and this one has stood the test of time.
I mean, it would have been...
my first Dodger game, I grew up in San Francisco, and the Dodgers were a vision for me, and I had a friend who moved to my high school from Los Angeles, and he painted a glorious picture of Dodger Stadium and Sandy Koufax and beautiful women and tanned girls, and I'm going to Candlestick Park and freezing and sitting there with 5,000 people, and so I knew there was something in my mind that is down there. And I found this at USC. I found this at the Coliseum. I found it at Dodger Stadium. I found what so many people who have come to Los Angeles over the years were looking for, which was this life. First time I saw that stadium, it was 100 degrees. It was a doubleheader against the Phillies. It was Don Sutton against Steve Carlton. The Dodgers won it in the 10th on a homer by Lee Lacy. There were 56,000 people at the game. And this is the big leagues. This is not Candlestick Park with 5,000 fans. This is the major leagues. And that's how the team felt about it. They had their own plane. They had their own spring training complex. They were first class. And in those days, they were the team in baseball. They paid better than anybody else. They had better facilities, and everybody wanted to be a Dodger. And so that's what I knew they were, and I found it when I came looking for it, just like everybody else who has come to this promised land.
All right.